Hi, friends. Hi, Amreet.
Hi,
I'm Hi. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Today I'm hosting Amreet. It's very nice. I'm very excited about our conversation because we are going to discuss a lot of interesting and I think very useful topics. And of course, the main topic would be relationships in African families, but also we will talk about many other things. And first of all, I would like to thank you for accepting my invitation and agreeing to answer all the questions. So it's really nice meeting you today. And I'm very excited to listen to your story, to your experience. And first of all, I would like to ask you to introduce yourself. Where are you from and what do you do?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you first for having me here. I'm really honoured to be doing this with you. It's really nice to be able to speak to yourself. Your platform is amazing, and I think it helps so many couples. So thank you very much, Laura. Hi everyone, my name's Amreet. I am the founder of Core Confidence Life Coaching. I am an interracial relationship and confidence life coach, and I primarily help South Asian women in interracial relationships who are struggling with cultural conditioning, cultural expectations growing up, and are really struggling to live the life that they want. So I help them find the confidence, the clarity, the courage to live the life that they want with the freedom of choice to be with who they want, because a lot of us still struggle and there's a lot of stigma attached still to being in relationships that aren't within our community. So I help coach South Asian women who are in these beautiful interracial relationships.
That's really amazing what you are doing because I know it's pretty difficult for a lot of women, especially, let's say, Indian women, because a lot of them are struggling with this problem that family doesn't accept their relation, especially if it's someone from a totally different culture. So I really appreciate what you are doing because I think people like you are really needed in this world.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I didn't even mention where I'm from. I'm from the UK. I'm originally from England and I live in the Midlands. At the moment, I'm living with my fiance in Angola, where he is from. But yeah, we're just living with our in-laws as well at the moment. So that's been a big change for us recently.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, from UK to Angola. Yeah, so I'm very curious to know about your life in this country because Africa is something that really attracted me a lot, and I would like to visit some countries, at least some one day. And another question I would like to ask you, I think the most popular question, how did you meet your partner? Where? How did it happen? Can you please share with us your
Of
beautiful...
course. So Lewis and I have been together for 16 years. We actually met when we were in school. So we met in secondary school. I think you guys call it high school. And yeah, it was very strange. Like I wasn't expecting to meet anyone, or I was just carrying on as normal. And then I saw him and I was intrigued, but I didn't really think anything would happen. I just thought we could be friends. But as I got to know him, I call it a soul connection. Like I just clicked with him. We just got on so well. It felt like, even though I've only known him for a few months, that I've known him for so much longer. And I fell quite quickly for him, which was scary at the time, very scary. I was only 17. And I knew, like, for me, I've been told when I was younger, we're not allowed to be with anyone outside the Indian community. We're not even supposed to have a boyfriend, to be honest. So at 17, here I am with this guy, and I'm just thinking, oh gosh, what am I going to do? I really like him. No way I can tell my parents. And really like struggling with the fact that I know that this is the person that I really, really like. And just trying to figure that out. So we kind of kept our relationship a secret, to be honest, for many years because of the stigmas attached, because not being allowed to be in a relationship, because he's black. I didn't find that I was able to tell my family. I told a few cousins, but that was it really, and they kind of helped me a little bit, but I got very unwell because of the secrecy, because of the lies, because of having to keep, it was like living a double life. It was like I was one person at home and then I'd be another person when I was out, and it just got very tiring. I got really ill. I had to like go to hospital, and I've got an autoimmune disease now called ulcerative colitis because of the stress of it all. And this is another reason why I started my coaching, because I don't want women to stress and like be overwhelmed how I was. And then I told my dad about my relationship 5 years later after we got together, because I knew that the stress for my mental health and my physical health was not worth it anymore. And I wasn't gonna like leave my partner. Like, we were together now. It's been 5 years. We were serious about each other. And I knew my family had to know. But even though I'd been with him for so long, it still took up so much courage to tell my parents, you know, I'm in this relationship. I remember it being one of the most scariest days of my life.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I was very scared, like very nervous, didn't know what to say, didn't know, you know, how it would go. And actually, when I did tell my dad for the first time, he just said, he kind of just said, okay, that's your decision. It's got nothing to do with me. He didn't really accept it or understand it. And for me, it was very sad and hard, but also I was happy that they knew, because now I could just not have to lie anymore. I think that was the biggest thing for me, not having to keep it a secret. Like, if we'd have to, I remember like very early on in our relationship, we'd have to hide from like public in case someone saw us on the street or something, and they would, you know, tell my family. I'd be scared about that, getting found out. That was very stressful. So it was very hard for us both at that time to be together. And I remember then a week later, my dad came and said to me, he'd spoken to some colleagues at work, and they said to him that actually me coming to him as his daughter and telling him that, you know, I'm in this relationship and I would like him to meet my other half is a sign of respect. And also that it's really nice that I was doing that, because a lot of their daughters would not do that. And, you know, they wish that their children would do that, because it shows that I want him a part of my life and part of my really important connection that I made. So he said he thought about this, and he then asked me to arrange a meeting between us. So he asked to meet Lewis after that. That was another nerve-wracking day for me.
That's really amazing. Yeah, you know, I always thought that Indian parents, especially of the kids who grew up abroad, they're more accepting. Yeah, but then I met one Punjabi girl, I think many years ago, and she told me her story that when she fell in love with an English guy, her parents simply told her, "You are not our daughter anymore, so we don't want you." And she got married, yes, and I think they didn't communicate for many, many years, and I was shocked. And only after they got kids, I think they started meeting each other. So for me, it was something really shocking. I thought that, how is it possible? Yeah, you grew up abroad, you could meet a foreigner. It's very possible. It's much more possible if you would be in India, for example.
Exactly.
But no, that was not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine how difficult it was for you, yes, to hide for so many years your relationship, so for 5 years, yeah.
Cause that's what I find quite difficult, because I say to people that even though my grandparents were the first people to come over, my parents were only 3 when they came over, so technically they grew up here as well. So even though we're second generation, I feel like I've been here. So my parents, when we were at home, we used to speak English. We didn't speak Punjabi, where the rest of my friends did speak their mother tongues, because my parents came over when they were so much younger. I think it was different for us then to be here. So for me to not talk to people who are not in the Indian community is weird. I speak to everyone. You know, it doesn't matter to me if you're black, white, from other ethnicities, other races. Like, I don't see, you know, color or race. I just see people. And I think from back where they came, they had a lot of racism at that time because of how the country was and how immigration was. And, you know, they were told, you know, keep together, don't go too far out, because it was dangerous. It was more dangerous for them then than it is for us in our generation now. And I think that was like a main thing, that they tried to keep us safe because they felt danger, but actually it's not dangerous for us because it shifts, doesn't it? How people change and how people integrate and speak to each other. So I don't know why, but in the Indian community, like black people are always seen as bad. You know, they're always like the people that do crime, or they're gonna rob you, or they're like always on the news, like there's bad like publicity about them. So growing up, you always are told like black people are bad. And then if, you know, you like, I remember like we'd cross the road if we'd see someone like walking down the street, like really racist behavior. And I realized growing up myself that actually this is not the case for these people. I have a lot of black friends, my partner's black, and they're just people trying to live their life too. It's like everyone's just trying to live their life, but unfortunately the world is predominantly based on how your skin color is, and then that's how you're treated.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I completely agree with you, and I don't understand this discrimination. Even if you see a few bad examples, it doesn't mean that everyone is the same. So we are all human beings, yeah, and we should be treated equally. That's what I believe. Yeah, I have friends also from different parts of the world, and for me, they're equally the same people. Yeah. So exactly. And you told in the beginning, yeah, that when you met your fiancé, you just felt that you are connected by souls. But which qualities of him impressed you the most? And before you met him, did you ever think that you would be in relationship with someone from a totally different culture, or did it just happen like that?
I did. Part of me did feel like I probably wouldn't end up with someone Indian. I don't know why. I always had that feeling, but I didn't know like who it would be, like from where. I always was attracted to people outside my community anyway. So I wasn't like shocked about that, but I didn't know it would be someone Angolan like my fiance is. What attracted to me, I think it was really just how pure he is. Like he's just very truthful and honest, and speaking to him, he's very different from other people or like men I've spoken to, where he would ask more about me. Like he was the first person to say to me, what do you want in life? You know, in our culture, it's always do what you're told. Do take this path. This is what you're supposed to do. This is how you're supposed to live. You know, you're supposed to go to school, go to uni, get a good job, get married, have children, get a nice house, get a nice car. Like that's what we're told is like the dream life.
Yeah.
And meeting him, you know, I did say to him, I said, I don't know if this can work. I don't know if I can be in this relationship. I don't know if my family's gonna accept you. I don't know if I can, you know, what if they tell me they don't want to speak to me? I don't know if I can stop speaking to them. I love my family, very close to them. It was very difficult for me for years to like try and think like, how do I keep both? How do I keep him and them? Like what will happen? Am I in the right frame of mind? Is this the person that I would be able to be like, I love him so much that I would leave my family? And to a point, I realized after he said, you know, what do you want? What is it that your heart's speaking and saying to you? Because again, in our culture, we're taught to be very logical.
Yeah.
With your brain, like we don't really tap into our feelings that much. And so having those kind of conversations with him, and he was very understanding. Like I think if it was me, I'd be a bit annoyed. Like yeah, it was like, oh, we can't like do this and we can't do that. But he was just so understanding, and he understood like the position I was in at the time. And yeah, he's just very caring and loving and just very honest and truthful. And I knew like when my dad would meet him, or when my parents or family would meet him, they'd love him because of how amazing he is. So it was just the hurdle of trying to get them to meet him. But yeah, he's an amazing guy, and I'm very blessed to have him in my life.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear stories like this. But I would like to ask you, how long did it take for you really to convince your family? Yeah, after how long they finally met him? What was their impression when they finally see him in person?
So like I mentioned earlier, it took me 5 years to pluck up the courage to tell Dad like, I'm in this relationship, it's serious, I'm not gonna break up, or we're not gonna stop seeing each other, we're together, we're in it now, we're 100% with each other. And then dad, you know, wasn't very happy about it and gave me that weird answer. But then coming back, he asked me to arrange that dinner, and so I arranged it, and it was me, Lewis, my mum and dad, and it was amazing. It was really nice. Everyone put in the effort. Even though I was so nervous, I was just very quiet. But when you speak to my partner, he's amazing. He can just like speak to anyone. So they spoke about you know, football or whatever it was. I can't remember. I was so nervous on that. All I kept thinking was, oh, I just want it to go well. I just want it to go well. And then from there, it was nice. But to tell the rest of my family, so at the beginning it was just my mom, my dad, my brother and sister already knew because I'm quite close to them. I'm the eldest, so they had met him and they were at school with me, so they knew like him like that. But the rest of my family, it took a bit longer because I was still scared about what people would say. Yeah. I was still worried, like if I took him to a family event or they saw him in my parents' house, they would say something rude or racist or discriminative, and I would always like be worried about that. So even though it was me with the fear, not Lewis, I realized this the other day, that I should have, you know, asked him, but I just made the decision that no, you're not going to meet anyone until, I think it was until I was ready. And then I realized that actually Lewis can hold his own. Like if someone says anything, if someone does anything, he can actually respond to that perfectly fine without me having to defend him. So I think it's always having that fear or that thought that, oh, it's my fault because it's my family, and actually letting that go, because you can't control everyone, you just can control you and your relationship. That was something like big that I learned from that. But yeah, my grandma only met him 5 years ago in 2019. I kept them away for a long time because I did fear the judgment of what they would say. Yeah, it's crazy when I think about like how much I am scared about what they would say, because he's black. And like one of my aunts was like, oh, at least he's light skinned and not dark skinned. And like saying that kind of thing to me is offensive, because to me it doesn't matter what shade of skin he is, you know. It shouldn't matter like if he is darker, or like someone said to me, oh, he doesn't even look black, he looks quite Indian. Like to them, they're trying to justify like to themselves, oh, it's okay. But I'm trying to say to them, get to know the person that I'm talking about. He is amazing. It doesn't matter what he looks like or what hair he has, or, you know, a lot of my family really like to touch his hair because they've never seen afro hair before, and he has a big afro. And I'm like, I say to him, like, tell them no if you don't want them to touch your hair. But he's very like nice like that, and he understands that he's something new, and a lot of my family probably haven't spoken to a black person like that in their life. So yeah, very understanding to that. But yeah, my family all have met him now. He's been to a few like big functions, so that's nice. But at the beginning, yeah, it was very, very difficult.
Yes, to be honest, you know, I never knew that black people are so discriminated in Indian society. I knew that Indians are obsessed with fair skin. The fairer you are, the more beautiful you are. But I heard from many people that, like, who are living in India, actually, that sometimes black are getting attacked by some people, and police never help, never interfere. So to be honest, I was shocked actually to hear that. And I don't see so many couples, so like yours, for example, or like when black guy is married to an Indian girl, or the other way around. It's not so common, but I'm happy to see more and more couples like that. Yes, it's kind of sad that people judge others by skin color. Yeah, it shouldn't be like that. You should see the person first. Yeah, that's what you said exactly. And what about the family of your fiance? So after how many years did you meet them, and what was their reaction? I would imagine that they didn't make any troubles about that, because they are totally different, and a lot of ups are married foreigners, and they always accepted very nicely, very warm. So what was your experience?
Yeah, so the first time I met his family all live in Angola. So it was just it wasn't because of us being together. Like we met him, I think that was like, I'm trying to think of the year now. It's been so long. I think that was a few years later, just because we were trying to organize me going out there, and to go to Angola, you need a lot of things. So, but yeah, like you said, it was amazing. It was fine. There was no problems. It was actually really scary because his brother was getting married, so I literally met everyone at the same time. So we literally landed, and it was that day that they were having their first ceremony. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I've literally just met his mom and his sister, and now we're going to go to this place and all his family's going to be there. They were really nice. A lot of them speak Portuguese, so I couldn't speak to them, but a lot of them do speak English as well. So that was really nice and helpful. And yeah, they were lovely. They didn't really have anything bad to say. Yeah, they were very accepting. And like you said, I think with those kind of families, they understand that, especially because their son lives in England, that he probably find someone who's here, and there's a lot of interracial couples in their family as well. So yeah, a lot of them also said, like, because I have curly hair and of my skin shade, like I could fit in like being Angolan. And it's just funny when people say that as well. Like they're like, a few people thought I was Portuguese until they hear me speak, and I'm like, no, I don't speak Portuguese.
Yes, but you know, people from Angola, I noticed that they look different. Really, they, I don't know, maybe it depends which part of the
Yeah,
country, but I saw quite a few people, I think quite a few girls are married to Angolan, and they really look different than other Africans. So yeah, probably, yeah. I think when I saw your fiancé for the first time on the picture, he really looked like even Indian to me. He could easily be Indian, I think.
yeah. But it was really nice meeting them all, and it was nice how they just accepted us. And you know, his mom, like, he translates for his mom, and she was just like, as long as you two are happy, because she was a bit scared for him, because she knew how Indian families can be and the community. So she did say to him, like, you know, be careful. I know, like, they don't really like their especially their daughters marrying outside of their community, so you might get a bit of trouble and a bit of backlash from them. But if this is what you two want, then you know, I support you with that. So that was really nice.
Yeah, that's really amazing and important to get this support. But they probably knew about you already for a long time, because you are together for 16 years. Just that you didn't meet each other in person. Yeah, probably he told
Yeah,
much faster than you could tell your
yeah,
parents.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he told them like the year after we were together. So yeah.
Yeah, I wish that everyone would be so supportive and accepting. I think African people are amazing from that point, and they never discriminate anyone. Yeah, that's what I noticed talking to other couples as well. And I would like to ask you, are you planning to have a big Indian wedding, or it would be an African wedding as well, or maybe a few of them? So because I see that even if a girl marry someone from her community, it's always a big Indian wedding as well. So
Yeah.
what are your plans? Where are you planning to get
So we're
married? In UK, Angola?
married in England. It's a bit tricky in Angola because they still have some COVID rules which are in place. So we're planning to get married here in the UK. And yes, I unfortunately for my family, I do want a big Indian wedding. I think it's important for me because growing up, that's something that I've always wanted. But it's something also that I think I shouldn't shy away with just because I'm not with someone who's Indian. Like, I know a lot of my cousins who married outside the community just kept their wedding small because they were like told, you know, we don't want people to find out. I'm not ashamed of my relationship. I am very happy and proud of my relationship. That's why I speak about it online, and I speak about, I want people to see, you know, you can love someone for who they are. And yeah, I'm so excited. It's going to be like a proper big Indian wedding. with all my family. I have a massive family, so my dad has 2 sisters, 3 brothers, and they're going to, I have loads of cousins with them. My mum has 5 sisters and 2 brothers, so I have loads of cousins with them. So yeah, it's going to be really fun.
Yes, I can imagine, especially Punjabi weddings. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. Yeah, I witnessed one and I think I will never forget this experience. It was something really amazing with a lot of dances. Yeah, very, very cheerful, very, very, very interesting. So for me, because I didn't have a Punjabi wedding, unfortunately, so it was something very special for me. So you are, when are you planning to get married? Yes, because it's amazing you're together 16 years. Yeah, I think not so many couples could actually survive after so many years. Yeah, but you're still there and you're still supportive, still in love. Yeah, that's really not so often you can see.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day because I was having this conversation about someone about marriage and how it's still very like a really important thing for people to do in our community. And they were saying to me like, how have you got away with like not getting married for so long, you know? And I think it's got to do with circumstances. So like we were meant to get married last year, but we decided to move, so that like kind of took over. And then also just like we've lived together for a long time as well, and I think it almost feels like we are married. It just haven't had the ceremony bit. So it's, I don't know how it's happened really like that, but yeah, I think it's important to me, as I know it's part of my identity and my values, that I do want to get married. But I also would like to say that I think if you're someone who is with someone and doesn't want to get married, that's okay too. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves, especially in the Indian community, that you have to get married, you have to get married,
Yeah.
you have to have kids, and if you don't, you're a failure. I really don't like that, because it should be a choice that you want to do that. I know marriage is an amazing thing, but I know for some people it just isn't like what they want to do. So we've decided that, I don't know why we waited so long, but we have. But yeah, probably like early next year that we're planning to do. It's just we're just waiting because I have to go back to the UK and then sort some things out. So yeah, I don't know at the moment.
So your fiancé will come to UK, yes, and or as you said that you are planning to marry in UK, not in Angola.
Yeah.
So he'll be joining you, and then you get married.
His family will hopefully join us here, there, and we'll be able to have like a mix kind of thing where they'll be involved with a lot of stuff as well.
I would be very curious to see your pictures. Yeah, I'm sure that would be amazing. Yeah, and lots of fun. And I would like to ask you one question, because both of you are from totally different cultures, religions, backgrounds. What are the daily challenges do you face in your life? Or maybe you don't have any challenges. It's also possible, because when people are really meant for each other, I think some couples just, they're from totally different backgrounds, but they just fit and they don't have any problems at all.
Well, that's it. We do fit very well. I would say we do have differences. Like we are very different. Like you said, we have different religion, different background, different ways that we think and we are. Me being like born in the UK, I'm very Western, and he's like that too. But his family living in Angola, they're quite traditional still, so they still see like the role as a woman should be more to support her partner than the man to support the woman, if that makes sense. So living up there is interesting, because when he like makes me a cup of tea or does something for me, they kind of like are surprised. Where in our relationship we are 50, like we're 50-50, we do everything for each other. So if I'm making like tea, I'll make it for him too. If I'm doing something, I'll like do it for him. We don't see it as like, oh, this is my job, like I clean the house and I do this and you cook and this and that. You know, we do everything together. So I think they found that strange that we live like that. Also, yeah, with religion, we both respect each other's religions and spiritual paths. I always say that's a very personal journey for everyone, and we speak about it, but we also know that, oh, like I'm Sikh, so I'm a Punjabi Sikh woman. Lewis is from a Roman Catholic background, but we both respect and honor each other's religions. And he, like, if it's one of our festivals, so Bandi Chor or Diwali or Vaisakhi, you know, we'll celebrate that, and I'll explain what that is, and we'll do what we do with that. And then we do Christmas and Easter. So it's nice, it's really nice that we're able to do both and put both together, but I'm still able to be quite on my own path and my own journey, and he respects that. Like when I'm doing my prayers, or when I need to go to the Gurdwara, the temple, and you know, he'll be okay with that, because that's how we are as people, and our values and beliefs, I think that's what matches, that's what's the same. So when we speak about having a family, when we speak about what we want from life, the vision we want, the mission that we want to do, it matches. And I think that's really important, that you both stay on the same page with that. Being together for so long, like, you can stop communicating. That happened a bit to us, and we realized, like, just because you live together, just because you've been together for so long, doesn't mean you don't change as people. Like I said, we met when we were 17, and now we're in our 30s, so we've literally grown up together. But we've changed, like, we've grown into, from teenagers to adults, so we've literally changed how we see life, how life is, you know. So it's really important to keep communication open and check in with each other, and really, like, because I was saying to my sister, I was like, sometimes when you live with someone, you think, oh, I'm going to see them all the time because I live with them, but actually you're off doing your thing, you're off doing your thing. Sometimes we used to come back at night and literally eat and go to sleep because you're so busy yet sometimes. So making sure that just because you've been in a relationship for a long time, you still have those, like, quality time with each other, the date nights, or time that you put aside just for each other. I think that's really important as well. Yeah, to make sure that you just keep talking. I think communication, like I've said it so many times, but I think that's what's kept us going. When, you know, something's wrong, when you're unhappy with something, speak up. Don't, I think something I used to do was, like, think he would know, and what I was taught, he was like, I'm not a mind reader, and it's true, like, he can't read my mind. So that's something I learned when I was like, okay, when I've got an issue, if I think we're not spending enough time together, whatever, just speak up and say what the issue is.
Yes, I think it's very important, yeah, to respect each other, especially if you are both from totally different religions, yeah, and of course not to try to change each other. It's also very important, because some people get married and they just try to change their partner. Okay, they don't see that, okay, it's a person from a totally different religion or background, and still they don't understand that, or maybe don't accept that. And I think in your religion, the best part is that Sikhism, they really respect everyone, and everyone is the same, yeah. And I know that they don't ever force anyone to convert into Sikhism, yes, because I myself, yeah, I'm married to a Sikh, yeah, so I know that very well, and I have a lot of respect for Sikhs, because it's the best thing, just to accept everyone, and everyone is welcome to Gurudwara, yeah. There is no discrimination. I wish it would be everywhere like this. So did your partner visit Gurudwara with you?
He's been, yeah, and he said, you know, he's found it very peaceful, very nice to be there, had the langar, and yeah, it's interesting. And I've been to a church a couple of times as well, so in Angola, which is really beautiful. But I always feel like places of worship, no matter where they are, if you have, like, if you believe in God, or how you pray, you know, that is with you wherever you go. So, and like you said, you know, don't discriminate against any other religion or how you live your life. It's important that, you know, it's like, I feel like it's important you can see how other people live and respect that, like you said. So yeah, he did go, and it was really nice, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really amazing experience because it's indeed a very peaceful place. You feel like, I don't know, I always felt something special in my heart. I could just sit for hours
Mm.
and hours and listen to the curtains. Like it's, I don't know, it really brings me like a peace of my mind, peace of my soul. Like that's, I think for everyone I talk about it, yeah, everyone admit, yeah, that this place is something special indeed. And what about the languages? Because I just saw a comment, someone ask you if you can speak at least a little bit of Portuguese. Are you learning it? Yeah, it's a beautiful language, very beautiful language, because I grew up on, let's say, on Brazilian soaps, and I really liked how the way they speak. I think Brazilian Portuguese is a little bit different than like Portuguese from Europe, from Portugal. Yeah,
Yeah.
so is it difficult for you? Are you learning? Do you speak? You communicate probably in English
Yeah.
mainly. But
So I can understand when they're speaking, and I can read Portuguese, but my speaking is not very good. I can get by if I need to, but I don't really. I need to start speaking Portuguese a lot more. Yeah, Brazilian Portuguese and Angolan Portuguese is very different. I think it's more similar to the European Portuguese than the Brazilian one. But they, like you said, they watch a lot of Brazilian dramas, so that's always on the TV in the background. Lewis speaks fluent English, so he's fine with that, and Portuguese. He understands bits of Punjabi. Um,
really, so are you teaching him
yeah,
some Punjabi?
yeah. I thought I had to because in my house, like, we mix English and Punjabi sometimes, so he understands when we say like a few words here and there, and he'll understand. He gets languages faster than I do. I don't know if that's because of the way he's grown up, because he's learned Spanish and Portuguese and English, like the way they're taught. And I think in England we're only primarily taught English, so for us I find it's harder to pick up languages than people from outside of England. I don't know why, but yeah, my Punjabi is all right. I don't speak to many people in Punjabi. Literally only speak.
No, it's a very beautiful language, but you
Yeah,
know, for me, to be honest, the most difficult part is pronunciation. I don't
yeah,
know. I just can't pronounce some sounds the way they are. It's like my husband can repeat me 10 times, but I will still repeat, say the same, but it's not how it should be, yes. But it's a very beautiful language. But for me, pronunciation is difficult. I think Hindi is much
oh,
easier from this point.
it's so much easier and it's softer. And growing up, we used to watch Hindi films all the time, so I actually mix my Hindi and Punjabi. Sometimes I get told off about it.
That's my problem as well, because I was learning Hindi when I was young, yeah, and now I'm trying to speak Punjabi. I will just mix both terribly. That's why I prefer not to say anything. I'm trying my best to speak. Yeah, sometimes my husband tells me, "Okay, we are together for so long, and you're still not speaking
I get
Punjabi." Yeah.
all the time from Lewis's family. They're like, "You've been together for 16 years. Why don't you speak Portuguese?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yes. Because when you, I think if I would live in India, yeah, that would be the case. Of course, I would speak Punjabi because I would hear it all the
Yeah.
time. But we are living in Europe, in a third country. It's like we don't have anyone here, so that's why I don't speak it really. I don't really need to learn so much. I can understand everything when people speak, when my husband speak with his family or with his friends. I understand, let's say 90% of the conversation. So for me, it's fine. Yeah, but it's beautiful language. I really love it. Why? Especially Punjabi songs. Yeah, they're the best, I think.
How do you like Bhangra? Do you
Sorry.
like Bhangra?
Oh yeah. Yes, I can dance non-stop. Yeah, if you just put music on, yeah, I just carry on. Yeah, that is the best thing because Punjabi songs they're popular, I think, everywhere. Yes,
Yeah.
you can hear some Punjabi tunes. Like even I remember there was some songs which were played in Russia a long time ago, which were very popular. So I think there was this Punjabi MC.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it was. You could just hear it everywhere. So. So, but with your family, you speak mainly Punjabi or English?
No, I speak English to everyone except my mom's mom, my nanny ji. She gets Punjabi, but everyone else.
Yeah, because I can see that Punjabi like kids who grew up in UK, of course they can understand Punjabi, but they speak more English than Punjabi.
Yeah, we get told.
Although you have yeah, like you even have some Punjabi schools in UK as well, so where you can really learn it. You're lucky from that point.
I mean, I feel like I'm very blessed that I was able to grow up in a household where people spoke it. So I think I absorbed it like that. So I understand it and I can speak it. It's just that I just need to practice a bit more. Like I said, if I was in India, I probably would be able to just get on with it. But it's about knowing that you don't have to, so you don't speak it. But a lot of my friends do because um, unfortunately my grandparents passed away when I was very young, but they grew up with their grandparents having to speak it. There was no other choice. So I think a lot of them like grew up like that. Like I said, my parents spoke English, so I blame them.
Yes, of course. Yeah, you have to speak your mother tongue. Yeah, because I see also here as well. It surprised me, to be honest, when two people are like from the same country, same religion, and they live in third country. They speak with the kids in Dutch. I don't understand why. I wouldn't do that, to be honest. If I would be married like to someone from Russia, I would speak still Russian with my children, not to the local language. But I see that a lot of parents do that. Maybe to make the life of kids easier so that they already know the language and kind of familiar with it from the beginning.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of my cousins who got married. They tried to instill the Punjabi at home, but the kids aren't. They're just like, no, we're not speaking.
Yeah, no, it depends also on your like who are your friends, for example. Like if they're mostly like mixed or mostly Punjabis, yeah, then of course you can speak Punjabi. But I don't know if you have a lot of Punjabi friends or
Not
no.
really, no. My best friend's Punjabi, but I don't really have that many Punjabi friends. I have, yes, there's a lot of mix of people, so I'm not, and I didn't speak it when I was younger a lot either. So picking it up more a lot now. I appreciate my culture. Being in Angola, I appreciate my culture a lot more. What I took for granted when I was in the UK, I thought was normal, and then being in Angola, I miss so much of our food. I miss the food, the roti and the dal.
Yeah.
I miss hearing the TV being on and it's Hindi or Punjabi channel. I miss just being able to walk into a room and knowing what people are saying. I am very lucky that I grew up and I took that for granted. I always thought that was normal, but actually we've learned that throughout our lives. And moving to a whole new place where it's a whole new culture, a whole new language, where they take that for granted, maybe really made me realize how rich and amazing the Indian culture is. And I do really love it, and I do really miss the food as well.
Yes, I can imagine that. And are there many Punjabis in Angola? Because I know in some African countries, let's say like Kenya, for example, there used to be a lot of Punjabis. I think most of them moved to UK actually.
Yeah,
Yes. And I think in some countries, maybe Ghana or something, but
yeah. So not
yes.
migrated from India to Uganda, I know, and Kenya, because I've had a few women come up to me and say, "Oh, I'm originally from there. Or my mom, we migrated from India to there." But from what I've been in Angola, I haven't seen many Punjabi South Asian people. I think the only South Asian people I've seen are from Dubai, so from that kind of area of the world, but not many who I know are Punjabi or from India. But I'm not sure. I haven't really been out that much in areas where maybe I would see them people. But I haven't seen that many. There's a few shops where I've seen the people from Dubai, so that's why I know that they're there. But I think Angola is quite a young country because it only got its independence in 1975. So it's still like growing and developing, and it's very expensive as well. So I don't think there's many tourists that go there. The only reason I'm there, like I said, is because of Lewis, and he's like born there, so his family's there. But a lot of the more like famous African places like South Africa, Ghana,
Yes.
Kenya, I think that's where a lot of the Indian people went to and have come over now. So
But how long you have been living in Angola already?
not that long. We only moved in November last year, so not that long at all. We was just seeing it out because Lewis got a job here, so we're just it was like a year contract, so we're just seeing how it was going to go, and then see how it's going to go from there. We're not sure. We're always moving around, looking for new opportunities, new experiences, and yeah, because I'm so lucky, all my work is online and I'm able to speak to amazing people like you on these kind of platforms. So yeah, it's been really, really interesting being in the country. I mean, one thing I'm loving so much is the weather. Like, I really love the hot weather, and I remember being in England, it's just like so cold. So yeah, that thing.
It's so depressing, you know, it's gray all the time, rainy, gray. Yeah, I think that's what I'm missing, because Netherlands is very similar. I'm missing sun a lot. I'm from a cold country, but I can't live without sun. And when you see sun 365 days a year, this is a blessing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really weird when it's Christmas time because it's hot and you're like, oh, it should be cold now. So it's confusing to me when it's Christmas time.
Yes, it is the other way around. Yeah, that's true. But is it difficult for you to adjust in this country, or
It is.
because again, totally different culture?
It's more difficult because in England I was able to drive myself and go places by myself, where here it's not so much that I can go places by myself. I don't know if anyone's been to India when you go abroad, but you kind of have to go with someone you know, places where you know, because I don't speak the language fluently as well, so it's hard for me to get around without having someone with me, and also it's weird just like being away from my family. I'm so used to seeing my family like nearly every other day, so that's really hard to deal with, missing them as well, and being so far from them, and that is hard to adjust to.
Yes, I can understand you really well, because yeah, I have been away from my mom for so many years, and nowadays I cannot even see her like easily. It's really depressing and sad. Yeah, and I think this is the most difficult part of intercultural relation, especially if you live far away from your family.
Yeah, so that's why I said, you know, we were just trying it out and seeing if it is the right fit for us. It's been really nice being with Lewis's family for a bit as well. It's been really interesting living with people, because me and Lewis just lived with each other for ages, just us two. So that's been interesting to like work around that kind of dynamic as well. But yeah, it's been a new experience, a lot of like things we've learned from this as well, as a couple as well, grown again in our journey, and yeah, it's just see where the next stage takes us.
Yes, of course. And what do you like the most about this country? If you talk about pros and cons of life in Angola, what would you?
I would definitely say, I know I mentioned it, but the weather, it just makes you feel so much better. It's like the heat and being in the warm makes me feel like healthier. I don't know if that makes sense. It's very peaceful, like calm. It's really beautiful. There's a beach literally 10 minutes down the road from us, so that's really nice being able to visit there. And they literally have fresh produce like fish, because they're right near the sea and things like that, so the food is really nice here as well. Cons, I would just say, like, I'm not as independent as I would be in England, so finding that a bit different, and being away from my family is difficult. Different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And is it a safe country? Can you just go out, or because I know that many African countries they're not so safe.
Yeah,
Just go.
well, I I would say it's safe in the aspect of if you're with someone, it's okay because they know like what's going on and stuff. But I wouldn't be allowed to like go out by myself. So yeah.
Yes. So my question is, what about the communication? Could you find friends maybe among locals, or do you prefer to communicate with expats? Because I'm sure there are probably a lot of women from other countries as well.
Um,
Could you find your circle of friends, let's say?
yeah, at the moment, I haven't, to be honest, been out much at all. Settling down has been quite up and down for me because I've had to travel back to the UK a couple of times. Unfortunately, we had someone pass away, and then, but recently we've had my cousin got married as well. So it's been, I've been traveling a lot, that's been different because it's so long, the flight, like it's 8 hours to Portugal and then 3 hours from Portugal to London.
So my question is, how is it for a foreigner? Like, is it difficult to find a job in Angola? So you're
Yeah,
working online, so you're flexible and you can work from any part of the world practically. But if you would like to find really
yeah,
job, do you really need to know the language, or is it
yeah.
possible to
I would
find with
say
English?
you would
How to
definitely
support?
have to know Portuguese because that's the language they speak there. So even in the restaurants, the shops, everywhere, it's Portuguese. Um, there's a handful of people that might know English, but it's definitely just Portuguese. So if you were thinking of going out there, I would try and definitely be a basic Portuguese speaker because yeah, that's the main language there. And even though they're taught English in school and things like that, the first language they use is Portuguese, and then English is definitely second language. And unlike some, I know countries that I know in Europe, sometimes they do try and accommodate for the English speakers, but I think in Angola they like don't really like to do that, which I understand because Portuguese is the language that they speak there. It'd be like similar in India, you know, if you went to the Punjab, you'd speak Punjabi, and Gujarat, you'd speak Gujarati. So yeah, it's predominantly like that.
Yes. But can you survive with English only in Angola, or do you really have to speak at least the basic
I
Portuguese?
suppose it is suppose how you are as a person. So if you're good at kind of getting by explaining kind of what you want, but I would think it would be difficult because a lot of them don't speak English. Like when I was at the airport, I had to speak Portuguese just like to get like a bottle of water and like order my food and things like that. When I was coming back, I did try and ask in English, but she was just like no. So they do prefer if you speak Portuguese. So yeah, at least the basic like asking for like basic things like where's the toilet, where's I can I have some water, things like that, I would say would be helpful if you wanted to visit Angola. But if you have someone who knows the language or can translate for you, then yeah, it's much easier.
So it's not a very
No,
touristic,
no, it's a
let's say,
very expensive country
destination.
at the
No.
moment. I think, like I said, because it's developing, things are very expensive there. um yeah, a lot of things we kind of bring over from England with us for the family because it's literally cheaper to get it from here and then take it over. So I think because it's still a developing country, they're still trying to find their feet in like what they're like doing and how they are. But that's why I don't think a lot of tourists are there. There are a lot of people there who are building a lot of buildings, so there's a lot of development in buildings, and they're like building new malls and complexes and things like that. So yeah, it's still I wouldn't think that a lot of people will go there because they would go on holiday. It's more of a place where either you go because of work or you know someone, or there's some connection there.
Yes, I can understand. I was surprised that even in very touristic places,
Mm.
like for example, we went to Istanbul, there are so many tourists, but locals they don't speak English. It's like you can't survive there without knowing at least a little bit Turkish. But it was really
Yeah.
surprising. It's such a popular city. Thousands of tourists are going there every year, but still we found it pretty hard. Like when we try to ask something in English, yeah, they just reply in some broken English or no English at all.
Yeah,
So it was
we've flown
difficult.
through Istanbul.
And
It's a massive airport, isn't it? Um, yeah,
yeah,
that is surprising actually.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, I was really surprised. It's such a popular city, and I saw so many tourists roaming around. And maybe in some areas, like in the center, people will speak, especially in some restaurants, and because they are very used to it. But if
Yeah,
you just try
yeah,
to ask someone on the street, yeah,
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
it's difficult. Yeah. So I just thought that if we go again, I have to learn some Turkish at least to be able just to ask something. Yeah. And another question I would like to ask you, how do you like Angolan cuisine? To be honest, I don't know anything. I don't know what are the main dishes. I know a few dishes, but I know that it's kind of
Yeah,
different, they eat different things. I got the impression that in
yeah.
African countries they eat a lot of meat, so they're meat eaters. Yeah, I think if you're vegetarian, it's probably very difficult to survive. I don't know, but what do they mainly eat and how do you like it? Because I know that Indians they really love their cuisine. Yeah, they're patriotic about Indian cuisine, and you said yourself that you're missing Punjabi food, and I can understand you very well because Punjabi food, according to me, one of the tastiest food. Really, it's really tasty, and there are so many dishes. Like I'm sure I didn't try all of them yet. So, what is your experience, and how? What about your fiance also?
So
Does he
I'll
like
answer the
Punjabi
first
food?
question. I'm going to answer the question.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
heavily meat and fish based. It's quite really healthy actually. I found that my diet was improved a lot. The seafood is very fresh because they live near the sea, so everything's caught fresh and it's really healthy. They normally grill or like have barbecues a lot because it's very hot there and it's just easy to grill the fish and things like that. So a lot of fish dishes. They eat a lot of rice as well, and there's this don't know how to explain it, but there's this thing called fonge where it's like a sticky kind of it's like mash, but it's not potato, it's flour based. So it's really bad how I'm describing it, and my fiance is going to tell me off, but that's like one of their traditional dishes. Yeah, so the cuisine is more fish and meat based, which is really it is nice. It is would be hard if you were a vegetarian. I say to my family sometimes that they'll have to bring some dal over with them because if they ever went because they find it difficult. And then I really like the cuisine because I felt like it's very healthy. So I know a lot of people will say that they don't like Indian food, but it's just a preference of the how much spice and things you put in it. So my fiance loves Indian food, and he likes chilies as well, so he's fine with it. I, unfortunately, because of my illness, can't tolerate too much chilies, but I still have my Indian food. I just make it separately, and that's what I was saying to someone the other day that Indian food doesn't have to all just be the same. You can adapt it to how you want it. So it can be no chilies, it can be loads of chilies, it can be lots of masala, it can be very less masala. That's what I love about Indian food, that you can change and mix and make it how you want.
Yes, that's true. So you cook mainly Punjabi food at home, or you just mix everything, or maybe
So
you prefer
I'm
some other cuisine?
bad
Because
at
I know
cooking.
that,
Well, I'm
yes.
not bad at cooking. I just don't like cooking, but I prefer to make Italian dishes. I don't know why. So I prefer like pasta, lasagna, those kind of things. When I'm making food, I leave the Indian stuff to my mom. She's the best at that. Push comes to shove, if I need to do it, I will. But I kind of like stay away from the Indian food. But I love our snacks, so samosas, pakora, those kind of like snacky foods. I love those. I could eat them all the time.
Yes, to cook Indian food, it's really time consuming. Yeah, I think Italian is the best. Yeah, just make pasta, or we also, when we don't have enough time, yeah, we just make pasta
Yeah,
or I don't
yeah.
know,
My
pizza,
mom had
whatever.
little
Yes, so
shortcuts that she
it's
takes
much.
where she could literally make dal in like half an hour. I don't know how she does it. Well, I do because I watched her, but she's so quick at it now that, you know, she'll have dal and roti ready in half an hour, and it's like amazing. You know, these are the kind of things I took for granted when I'm going abroad. Like she makes fresh roti every day, like fresh bread every day. So lucky to have that in our lives, that, you know, we get that where some people don't experience having that. So
Yes, yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, so you don't really eat
no,
only,
no, no.
let's say,
It's a
Indian food at home. When you are
Yeah, it's a
from
whole
home,
mixture
yes.
of things. Mexican, Chinese, Japanese. I love Japanese food. Yeah, it's a whole different load of stuff.
Yeah, that's the beauty, I think, of intercultural relation that you can try different things. Like because I know that again that in Indian household people
Yeah,
prefer only Indian food. Although in my case it's not the same because we try everything. Yeah, I also love Chinese food, Mexican food, like Italian food. They have very tasty dishes. But
yeah,
although I love
yeah,
Indian food, but not
exactly.
every day. Let's say it like that. And another question which I ask all the girls, like because it's very important, I think, to listen to different experience, different opinions. What would you recommend? I would say, especially to the Indian girls who are in relationships with African men, how to prevent any misunderstandings and problems in future, how to understand that man is serious. And the main question I would like to ask you, because you have this experience, how to convince your family if they are really against your relationship, like what would you recommend?
Yeah, you're back.
Yes, I can. Yes. Yeah.
Um, so I think I just caught the end of your question. So the first thing I would say is patience and time, and I say that to everyone. And unfortunately, it's not the like funnest thing to do, but patience and time really make a difference, because seeing the journey from telling my family, from my parents, from them to understand what's going on, to them to see how they want that relationship to grow, it takes time. Like, imagine I come to you and say, I've been in a relationship for 5 years, we want to be together, this is what we're going to do, blah blah. I'm giving you all this information and you've just found out, and then you don't know how to take that. Let's say you've never experienced, you as a parent, you don't ever think your child's going to say this to you, you've never understood this kind of thing before, you don't know how to handle this situation. I know with a lot of South Asian parents, they like to be in control, so when they're not in control, they feel like, what do I do? You know, I'm the parent, they're the child. It's that kind of like that balance. So take it slow, be patient, tell them one thing at a time. Really don't expect things to happen overnight, because again, they're dealing with things from their own point of view, how they like the way they grow up in their generation. Like I said, my grandma still thinks in a way that, you know, is her generation, and still try and tell her, no,
Yeah.
it's not like that anymore, you know, you got to see it like this. But that, I always say time and patience. And then the third thing is communication. Having like clear, confident communication is really important, because if you're going in like I did and I was like really scared and quiet, you're kind of showing them that you've got something to hide or you got something to be ashamed of. Where if you go in and you're able to say, look, this is how it is, not in an arrogant way, but in a calm and like confident way. This is the man that I want to be with, I want to marry, I want to get engaged to, I want to live with, I just, you know, whatever. And this is the decision we've made. I really would love for you guys to be part of our journey and to, you know, whatever you want from your parents, if to accept us or to know us or to meet us, and then take it a step at a time. Because like I said, in the South Asian community, the first thing the parents think of is, what will other people think? Oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this to me. Oh my God, what the hell is she thinking? Who is this person? Where have they come from? They don't know us, blah, blah, blah. They totally don't think about you as their daughter. They think about everything else. So that's when you have to, so I've done this free video guide on my page where it's 8 steps. It's called the mastered method. And literally I go through each step of what you have to do when having this conversation with parents or family, where you can get to a place where you feel in control, you're clear and you're confident in what you're saying. Because I know that having those conversations is one of the scariest things you can do. It's so scary. And I don't want women, South Asian women, to live in fear anymore. Like, it's not worth your mental health, it's not worth your physical health, it's not worth your spiritual health. So please, you know, don't be scared anymore. Like, it's free, so anyone can access it. Use the guide, and yeah, just really know, like, you're not doing anything wrong. Just, you've fallen in love with someone, you've got a connection with them, you want to be happy in this relationship. You know, it's a beautiful thing. It should be celebrated. It shouldn't have shame or stigma or all this negativity around it. So this is what I would say. It does take time, because people have to understand, okay, this is what's happening, this is how my daughter wants to progress in her life, these are the changes that were made. Like, in my family over the last 20 years, it has changed so much. 20 years ago, I would not be able to do this. So, you know, you think of where we've come and the time that it's taken, but, you know, things do get better, but it's about how you take the steps and approach it. And that's where, like, I come in with my coaching, because it's hard for parents as well. You got to think about the intergenerational trauma they've had, especially if you've an immigrant parent, so you've moved from India to the UK, Canada, US, Australia, wherever. How they've been brought up, they've been kept in that bubble of, oh no, this is how we do it. Where us lot now, we're branching out, we're like, this is our world, we're going to live in it and do what we want. And it's such a different dynamic. So yeah, I think, you know, stick to being in your relationship. Don't let anyone tell you you're wrong and like you can't have it. But also remember that if you want to have these people in your life and you want to be able to share the experience with your family, there will be steps that you have to take, and it does take time for people to understand what's going on.
Yes, exactly. And luckily, nowadays we have people like you who can always support and suggest how to behave, what to say, how to react, how to approach your family. Because I know that many girls, they probably feel alone and no one support them. And I can imagine how difficult it is if your family don't support you, if your friends don't support you. And especially if you live in India, I think it's even more challenging than if you live somewhere like in the West. Yeah, so it's really great that you are here, and you probably helped a lot of girls, and you will help many, many more. And I would ask my followers, if you are in a difficult situation, if you really need help and support, you can always contact Amrit. She is there to help us. I'm really, really happy that we could finish our conversation today. It was really great talking to you, because we were planning for a long time and something was interrupting our plans all the time. Yeah, I would really like to thank you that you joined me today. I'm really sorry for all this. I don't know what's were happening. I don't know why. Again, everything seems fine now. And I would like to to thank everyone who were listening to us, and for the people who couldn't join us, I will save everything, and you can also watch on my YouTube channel. Yes, I think it's more easy to watch there. That's why I always upload it there. And if you need help again, please feel free to contact Amrit. If you have any questions for her, you can always contact her directly or just write something under our interview. So thank you very much for being here with me today. And I really appreciate it. And I hope we will be in touch, and I hope we'll meet again. I'm always open and ready to talk about different important topics. I think it's in one interview you can't talk about everything, of course. So I just try to ask main questions, but
yes, definitely.
I hope
it's
we
been
can meet
such
again.
an amazing conversation with yourself, and thank you so much for being a great host and having me on your page. And yeah, the internet is just crazy sometimes, but we got there in the end.
Yes, that's the most important thing. And I'm truly blessed that I met so many wonderful people. You know, sometimes I'm sick of social media and say, okay, it's enough, time to stop. Yeah, but I met so many wonderful people, and it would be really
Yeah.
great to meet sometime in Rio, and who knows where, maybe in UK, maybe in Angola, maybe somewhere else. You never know, yes. And I would like to wish you best of luck with everything you do, yes, because you are really doing very useful, very amazing thing for all the women who need help. Yeah,
Thank you.
I have a lot of respect for you because
Thank you.
they really need you. Yes.
Yeah, I wish I had someone like myself when I was younger and I was really stressed out. So that's the reason I'm starting, because I don't want anyone else to feel how I did. I don't want anyone else to ever feel like they're alone or they're wrong or have shame or guilt in their relationship, because there's nothing to be guilty or feel shame about. So yeah, this is very important to me, and I really want women to know that they can live the life that they want, because we all deserve to live the life that we want.
Yes, of course, exactly. Yeah, and I feel the same. That's why I really want to support all the couples who are in intercultural relations. And I know it can be very challenging, very difficult sometimes, but we are here, and you can see wonderful examples. I think it's a great inspiration to see couples like yours, like you are together for 16 years, and that's really amazing. Yeah, yeah. So I wish you really, really best of luck with it. Yes, and I hope we can meet again. Yes, and talk again. So maybe even just to choose some particular topic important, maybe I can
Yeah,
ask my followers what would they like to know more.
yeah,
Yeah. Yes, and we
that'd
can
be
plan
brilliant. Thank
something.
you so much.
Thank
Thank you. Take
you so
care.
much. Have a
Bye.
great day. Thank you. Take care. Bye.